If you want to increase your cut through, if you want to decrease your content creation time, if you want to increase the conversion rates of your sales pages, if you want to create offers that are better and sales pages that absolutely speak to your people, then your first task for 2025 is to make sure that you touch up the understanding of your ideal client or your ideal customer, or you go through and you take your understanding even deeper in 2025, deeper than you ever have before. And you can do that or start to do that through these 3 what is called desk research elements, where they are things that you can literally get online and do today without even having to have your ideal customer or client available or accessible to you. There is already troves of information on the internet that's actually really easy for you to get. As a female online business owner with dreams of more income, more impact, and more freedom, you know there's more potential in your business waiting to be unlocked. But figuring out how to shape and transform your biz and get seen, loved, selling, and scaling can feel like, well, a mystery. So how do you cut through the noise, create offers that deeply resonate, sell and scale without you always being on, all while creating a life you love? That is exactly what this show is about. Welcome to Seen, Loved, Selling, Scale. I'm Corinda, your small biz marketing sidekick, digital offer strategist, and online biz bestie. With tens of thousands of digital offers sold, tens of thousands of people helped, and millions of dollars in revenue generated in my own business as a small business owner. And through this podcast, I am here to share it all. You'll gain clear, actionable insights, strategies, and shortcuts to master your online marketing, build scalable online offers, and create a business model that works for you as much as it works for your people, so you can grow your income, amplify your impact, and free up more of your time. Let's get started. Hello, and a massive welcome to you. Welcome back to the Seen, Love, Selling, Scale podcast. So as I'm sitting here recording this episode today, I'm looking at the calendar and I know that this episode is going to be dropping on the last day of the year. So this is going to be our last podcast for 2024. No worries. I will be back next week with another episode, but I'm really reflecting on the year that has been. And really, I have seen so much success this year in the people around me, and it brings me so much joy. But I also want to use the things that I see in business and the things I've experienced to help you leverage your success as well. So I was really sitting here thinking, what do all of these people have in common? Like, there's so many different industries, niches, personalities, business types, from e-commerce to service-based to online business, that I get to work with and see and experience and be in the lives of. And every single person that I've seen have success across any of these industries has this one thing in common. And I'm going to be sharing that one thing with you today. And if I was asked, what was the one thing that if you focused on this in 2025 would guarantee more success for you, it would be this thing that I'm about to share. And I do not say that lightly, right? Because the word guarantee is insane. But I do guarantee that if you were to focus on this, so many areas of your business would improve, and therefore you are able to achieve so many more outcomes with so much more ease. And that thing is your understanding of your ideal client or customer. And I get it, right? Like, we all do have an understanding of our ideal customer or client, but I want you to be really, really real with yourself and really know like how deep that is. Are you crystal clear about who that person is, about literally what happens in their day step by step? What do they think about in their brains? What do they say out loud? What do they daydream about? What do they hope is happening? What do they scroll social media and see and like those little thoughts get triggered in their brains? What are they sitting on the floor at 11 o'clock at night eating ice cream out of a container and thinking like, my day would be so much easier if this hadn't happened, or if I knew this, or if I had this, or I just wish my life looked like this? These are the things that if you know them about your ideal customer, everything improves, because everything that you do in business is for the person on the other side of that screen. From the one message that you write at the top of your website, to the words that come underneath that, to every single post that you put out on social media and the topics of those, to the names of the offers that you create, whether it's like scalable business school versus, funnel school. I really have to understand how my IC sees those two words, right? Because if I name it like funnel freedom school or something like that, and I actually personally know some of my IC are terrified of the word funnel, they just want a scalable business or a successful business or a business that has more freedom and flexibility in it. I know that, my program may not do as well, or it's going to be harder for me to sell it. I have to do a lot of extra work to get people to like the word funnel before I can talk to them about scalable business school or something like that. You can see how this is like a massive domino effect, right? Of how not understanding those nuances of our ideal customer actually can impact our business. And so in today's episode, I am actually going to run you through some ways that if you can just put, let's say, 60 minutes aside over the next week, that you can go through and do these, what I call desk research exercises to really understand your ideal client more. Now, I want to be really clear that this is likely not going to cultivate a complete understanding of your ideal client for you. And in all of the spaces, if anyone's worked with me, you'll know that I recommend asking 10 magic questions to your ideal client, which is where you actually will go out and maybe do an interview with someone, or look for Facebook groups where you're allowed to post questions, or post these on your Instagram, or, whatever it may be. Even if you just find a peer in a community group that you are and you're like, hey, you're my ideal client, I might be your ideal client, let's like swap interviews. So there's so many different ways that you can go and actually ask this. Those are what I recommend for a really deep understanding. And ask if you can record them too and put them into ChatGPT and all of those types of things to like really have ChatGPT break down the patterns and the exact words. But what I'm going to cover with you in this episode is just some ways that you can jump online literally today without having to organize or ask a single question and find so much out about your ideal customer. And I helped some people in the Content Mastery Club with this the other day, and they were absolutely blown away. So these are things that you may know already, but you also may not. And this is going to be a really practical session where I'm actually going to tell you particular things to do on particular platforms. So you might want to like listen to this when you're at a computer, but listen to it once, see if there's anything new in here for you, and then you can jump back in front of a computer and do this with me should you wish. But let us dive in and let us talk about the methods that you can use to sit down at your computer today and walk away with a better understanding of your ideal client, which I guarantee will help you increase your success in 2025. So number one is Reddit. Now, you might know Reddit. You might hate Reddit. You might have never heard about it. So let me dive into what Reddit is first of all and why we can use it for customer or client research. So Reddit is essentially like a collection of communities on the one platform. So Reddit is the platform and the communities are called subreddits. And these communities are based on basically every topic that you could think of in the world, any life situation, even like TV shows, personalities, famous people that people want to talk about in the one spot, like something people are going through, a life stage that they're in, like perimenopause, something they're going through like divorce, or even just topics like meta ads or podcasting or whatever it may be. And the reason why Reddit is such a wealth of information, but also a reason why some people hate Reddit, is because it is anonymous. So there's a real positive when we're looking at customer research with this level of like anonymous ability to get on there and ask or say anything. And that is because people take their guards down and they really, really, really ask the questions and say the things that they might be too scared to say in other places. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some niches like, let's say, social media, where you might find stuff on Reddit that you can also find in your peers' Instagram comments or in Facebook groups or, those places that we do normally go to. And we're going to talk about those a little bit further as well. But essentially, like someone might say on social media, like, hey, I don't know how to get reach on social media. And they might have that same thing in the Instagram comments. But what also happens on Reddit is like even deeper stuff. Like, I've copied all of my competitors' posts and I'm just not getting outcomes. What's going on? And people might be like, yeah, I used to copy a lot too, and like me too. And then you can address that in a post and be like, hey, quietly, have you ever copied a competitor's post? Like, I'm not calling you out, but if you have and you felt guilty about it, like, this is how you can find your own voice again. And just by knowing these like deeper things about people, because it has this level of like able to post anonymously, then you can all of a sudden be that person that's like, hey, you've been reading my diary. It's amazing for sales pages. It's amazing for content ideas. But outside even that level of like people sharing that more deeper stuff they might not be able to say anywhere else, it is also just an amazing place where people are literally writing in their own words and going back and forth with each other all in the one spot, like in an organized customer research thread for you. So I find when I'm doing research on Instagram and like my peers' comment sections and things like that, it's great, right? But like there's like a whole pile of other stuff mixed in. Like it's people commenting keywords, and then it's people just doing engagement for their own brand. And then there's some people asking questions in there or making statements. But when you go on Reddit, it's really all that stuff's gone, right? Like you have a subreddit, which might be like homesteading. And in that subreddit, it might be like, hey, I'm overwhelmed by homesteading. And then every comment underneath that in that subreddit is people also talking about their experience being overwhelmed by homesteading, what they're overwhelmed with, why they're overwhelmed by it, what they've tried so far, what their exact experience in, what their deepest, darkest thoughts are, what their worries are, what the solutions are that other people are saying to them. So you can literally say like, hey, have you been told over and over again your solution for growing your homestead in a non-overwhelmed way is XYZ? Well, I actually believe different. And you can actually see what people might have been saying to each other or hearing or reading, because it's all going on in here. So this is the part where I'm going to teach you how to really easily find stuff on Reddit, because Reddit can be a little bit more difficult. So this is actually how I like to do it. And you don't even need an account for this. Go to Google, type in the word Reddit, and then type in whatever your niche is. So for example, I can type in like Reddit perimenopause. And when I do that, I instantly find like the perimenopause subreddit. And I'm literally looking at Google right now. So you can do this activity with me. But Google has given me as like the number one response is the actual perimenopause subreddit. And so instantly in this, just off Google, I can see that there is 37,000+ followers on it. I can click through to that subreddit and I can start like searching or filtering. So I'm going to filter. I can look via hot posts, new, top posts, controversial, or rising. And then I can also search as well for specific things that I might want. But I can literally just go through and read through here. Like, does anyone else hate the flower visual used on all things branded for menopause? And then people are saying like, I love flowers. I cannot stand this imagery. It makes me feel like my beauty is wilting. And then there's 45 comments on here about how people feel about design elements, right? Like this is gold for a brand. If you are in the perimenopause field and you think that like you've been using flowers and it hasn't sat well with you, like this might actually confirm that for you, right? And it's deeper than this. So the next one is, am I going to have to carry femcare products around forever the next decade? There's a post idea right there. Then there's, this has stopped my night sweats and like how this has helped other people. Then it goes through and saying like birth control patch or HRT, like what should I be? Like this is just absolute gold. Like I just cannot even explain how much stuff that you can find on Reddit. So that's the first click off Google that I did. And literally I could spend hours in here. And again, you can also copy and paste this stuff to ChatGPT to help them help you summarize this, but also get in there and do the work and read it yourself, because the nuances in how people say things, the exact language they use, those exact situations, the things that triggered them to go and write that post, really, really, really great for you to know. But I'm back on Google now and I've typed in Reddit perimenopause. And then as I go through all the actual links that Google's then brought up under this main one, it's actually looking through a lot of the other threads that might talk about perimenopause or subreddits on Reddit. So there's one in here which is called, the subreddit is called PMDD. And it's saying like, if you are mid to late 30s, please read up on perimenopause. I wasn't aware of it. 160 comments on that one. The next one says like, the subreddit is called menopause. It's like, why didn't anyone give us a heads up? Then the other one's called like, what were your earliest perimenopause symptoms? I'm 43 and in perimenopause. Like it just goes on and on and on. And this is just pages and pages and pages of customer research. Now, then you can actually go deeper. So this was just me typing in Reddit perimenopause. You can then start to use common keywords that you might want to research that every IC kind of has. So you can start to understand what some of your customer critical drivers are. Now, the types of things that drive people in the world are a lot of the time pain points, right? We're a lot quicker to move away from pain than we are to move towards desire. It is literally just our programming. So I like to start looking up pain points first of all. So I would type in like Reddit, perimenopause, and then I might type in overwhelm, frustration, anger, hate, solutions, struggles, all of those types of words. And when you actually type that in, like I'm literally going to type that in, please hold with me while I do that. Reddit, perimenopause. And then if I type in overwhelm, it says feeling overwhelmed. I have such a feeling of overwhelm. I often feel like I just want to be home. The big fun parties that people normally used to look forward to no longer excite me. Like this is literally what someone is writing, right? And there's all these comments under there. So you can see if people could agree with this. And someone literally said, oh my God, I thought it was only me. The person underneath that said, I couldn't have written this better myself. Sometimes coming home from being out is the best feeling, like a sense of release. I have this too. So you can actually go through and start to understand what people in perimenopause are overwhelmed about, what they're frustrated about, what they're thinking about. The same thing, you can start going in and typing in words like perimenopause hopeful, perimenopause desires, perimenopause want. And you can do this in so many different ways. So the next thing that you can start to look up is like Reddit hot flashes or like Reddit period products or whatever it might be to start to get a deeper understanding. Now, you can literally do this for any niche, any keyword. And Google is really the place that I do like to actually go to search. Reddit, I know that sounds kind of funny, but I know I'm not alone in this and that I've seen other people post about this too. You can actually also go onto the Reddit platform as well and start typing in things in there. I just find that the way Google gives me the actual recommendations to go and check out is a little bit better than Reddit's own search function, but completely up to you. Have a play with both of them. Now, this is the first place and probably the biggest place I want you to go. Like if I could just end this podcast here, I would, if there was just one thing you took away from it. It's like go and do some research in Reddit. But I also want to give you another research hint and tip. I know you've probably done research on Facebook before, but I'm just not sure if you've done it this way. So what I want you to actually go and do is go into your Facebook app. And then when you are in like your own profile, what people normally do is go through and try and like join groups or look for groups that actually have keywords of their ICs, like identifier or something like that. And there is nothing wrong with that. Please, 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 please do that. It is massive. But what I actually like to do is use Facebook just as a search engine overall, exactly like I would use Google. So I want you to literally just open your Facebook app and don't go into the groups tab. Don't like start going searching for groups and joining them or anything like that. Literally just open like your Facebook app or your Facebook desktop and look for the search bar just on your own home feed and then go in there and start to type in keywords. So I'm going to type in perimenopause, and this is just my example for today, overwhelm as one example. Then it's going to come up and just in my search results, it says like all posts, people, reels, groups, pages. And I'm just going to toggle onto the posts. Although, of course, this is a great way for you to find groups if you do want to join them. But some people actually overlook the amount of public information there is on Facebook just by using these keywords. So right now I have typed in perimenopause overwhelm. And there is a post that has come up instantly, which has like 7.9 thousand likes talking about perimenopause overwhelm and just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments. And as I start to go through this, it's literally people talking about being in perimenopause, relating to what the poster of this post said about perimenopause and talking about their own experiences. There's 961 comments on here. And a lot of people are talking about like, you know, I really thought I must be going mad. I was doing this. I was doing that. Can we have another episode of you talking about this? So it's like literally people giving you content ideas. Then it's people saying exactly what they do in the day. Like, I'm exercising quite a lot. This is somebody talking about like not being able to shift weight and being overwhelmed by that. I exercise quite a lot. I've cut out sugar. I think I must eat too much, but that's this, it's that. Like people are actually literally saying, this is exactly what I do in my day. And this is exactly how I'm feeling about it. These are the human elements that if you infuse these in your marketing, make all the difference. Every single one of my sales pages is literally written like I've gone and read Facebook and Reddit threads and said like, Are you wishing you had this and this is happening? Are you sitting there at night and this is happening? Do you feel guilty about this and this? Because I've literally used people's exact words and written it straight back to them. And then people read that and think, oh my God, yeah, that is how I feel. Like, how did you know? It's like, you've been reading my diary. And it's like, I did. The diary called Reddit and Facebook, where people post a lot of stuff. Now, people do post stuff on Facebook, of course. The more sensitive in nature a niche gets, the more and more and more I actually like to go to Reddit to find information, because again, that level of being able to post in an anonymous way on Reddit allows people to open up and be a lot more transparent and honest and deep. But people still do post about more generalized things on Facebook. And don't get me wrong, some people are still absolutely open and transparent on Facebook, but I just find that there is a different level. So I want you to go and do that exact same search type of stuff that I said to do on Google about Reddit on Facebook as well. And then lucky last, and you probably absolutely know this one, but I want to give you a different approach to do this. It is ChatGPT. And for anyone that's in the Content Mastery Club here, you actually have Remy, the research assistant, the bot that I have trained to do this for you. But there is a really particular way when you are using ChatGPT that you can actually get ChatGPT to give you your client research in your client's or customer's own words. Now, again, it's not perfect because ChatGPT is a prediction type of program. A large language model predicts what the next word is supposed to come, but it predicts off what is actually on the internet. And so a lot of the time it does get it right in what your IC are actually saying in the exact same way that they are saying it, because it's seen it in different places on there as well, in blogs and all of these other places as well. So I'm going to give you the exact prompt that I like to say to ChatGPT. And it goes like this, and then I'm going to also add it to the actual show notes as well, so you can grab that. But essentially, I will say to ChatGPT, act like you have in-depth market research available to you from, and then insert your ideal client name. And be really specific here, right? Be like international small business owners in their first, 0 to 2 years of business who have a business type in XYZ. Be specific. And then on the subject of, and be specific here as well. So for example, let's say it was perimenopause. Don't just say on the topic of perimenopause. Actually go through, and you can start there, of course, but then you actually want to start breaking this down, because remember, ChatGPT can only put out so much information in the one go. And so if you ask something broad like perimenopause, it's not going to break down all of these individual niched things. So I like to niche it to begin with, and then it can niche the niche, right? And so what I mean by that is I might say, on the research subject of hot flashes for women in perimenopause. And then all of a sudden, ChatGPT is going to give me 20 different pain points specifically about hot flashes, 20 different desires around hot flashes, instead of just saying that eliminating hot flashes is a desire and a pain point. If I did this all in one, it's actually going to get really micro for me. So then you're going to say, based on this research, list out and then tell ChatGPT what you actually want. So for example, you would say things like, I want key insights, including personal experiences, pain points, desires, struggles, and feelings. They're the go-to things that we're always going to want to know in marketing to craft everything around. You can add anything else that you might want as well in there about reiterate the topic again. So ChatGPT is really clear. And then I then say, and this is the difference, I would like you to deliver this in a list. You can format it by saying the topic of the personal experience, pain point, desire, struggle, and feeling first, then their own language, such as in brackets, the topic is whatever the topic is, and the quote is, I feel like I. And so you actually tell ChatGPT you want it to give you the topic as a heading and then the quote from the person. So I do not just ask for research, because when you ask ChatGPT for research, it does tend to summarize things and say your IC are worried about hot flashes because it makes them feel blah. But when you ask for a quote, ChatGPT is I feel hopeless. I can't get rid of these hot flashes. They're taking over my life, blah, 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 blah. It actually brings it back to you in a way that is much, much, much better. And so part of this desk research I would be doing would be going to ChatGPT as well. So there you have it. If you want to increase your cut through, if you want to decrease your content creation time, if you want to increase the conversion rates of your sales pages, if you want to create offers that are better and sales pages that absolutely speak to your people, then your first task for 2025 is to make sure that you touch up the understanding of your ideal client or your ideal customer, or you go through and you take your understanding even deeper in 2025, deeper than you ever have before. And you can do that or start to do that through these 3 what is called desk research elements, where they are things that you can literally get online and do today without even having to have your ideal customer or client available or accessible to you. There is already troves of information on the internet that's actually really easy for you to get. And then, of course, outside this, you can be reading Instagram comments and doing your own polls and doing interviews and joining specific groups and asking questions in there and all of those things. But these 3 things alone, even if you just did these, can start to create this massive improvement for you in 2025. And no matter how good a marketer you are, no matter how long you've been in business, please, please, please don't take this for granted. Please just go and inspire yourself again. This is something that I do so regularly, no matter how well I think I know my IC. And like, I'm my own IC as well. So I already have a wealth of information, but every single time I do this, hands down, I am so inspired, activated, reminded, encouraged, validated by the things that I am seeing there. So I hope that this helps you. And if you are listening to this on the day that it dropped, a happy new year to you. If you're listening to this in at the start of 2025, I cannot wait to see what this year holds for you. And if you are listening to this sometime in the future, hi from the past, and I hope that this podcast episode has helped you wherever you are in business right now to start to improve your understanding of your ideal customer and client as well. That is all from me. I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Seen, Love, Selling, Scale podcast. I hope today's episode left you feeling inspired, fired up, and empowered to make serious moves that align with your goals and version of success, both in life and business. If you loved what you heard, head over to www.thisisco.com.au to find all the links and resources mentioned in today's episode. And if you aren't already following the show, make sure you hit that follow button so you never miss a future episode when it drops. I'll see you again next week, same time, same place, same goal to get you seen, loved, selling, and scaling. See you then.